Everyone. I wanted to go over Lightning Shred Druid build. This build is primarily for level 50 to 100 leveling, and you could also progress into in-game content with this build too. Obviously, once you hit level 100, there are going to be adjustments that you will have to be making in order to make it viable for the end game. But yeah, this is, like I said, for the level 50 to 100 grind. So with that being said, keep in mind with this video, this is already assuming you hit level 50, you have your skill points, and now you're dipping into your Paragon points. Also, full disclosure, this build I am getting from maxroll, so I'll be providing the link down below in the description. So keep in mind with builds like these, especially since I got it from maxroll, sometimes they do update the build. So just keep an eye on that from time to time that there may be changes here and there. So just be mindful of that. Also, if you find this video helpful at all, or if you want to see more Diablo content, please like and subscribe. It helps me out tremendously. So anyway, let's get into this video. So the biggest aspect, in my opinion, is going to be the Stormclaw aspect. It's going to increase the shred damage AoE, and this is what helps you annihilate the packs around you. The next aspect that I have in one of the rings is going to be the Dire Wolf's Band. So this pretty much increases your movement speed, spirit cost reduction, and you get sustainability with this. And then the other ring I have is the Grizzly Rage duration. So this is the Rampaging Werebeast aspect. For helmet, I have the Debilitating Roar. It'll immobilize poison enemies for up to so many seconds. And then the next armor piece is you gain so much % damage reduction while shapeshifted into werewolf. And then gloves, core skills deal up to a certain % extra increased damage based on the amount of fortify. With this aspect for the gloves, you could have this core skills onto the ring that has the Grizzly Rage duration. You can have the duration of Grizzly Rage on the gloves as well. I know sometimes depending on RNG, you might get something on your gloves rather than your ring, so these two can be interchangeable. And then for your pants, you're going to want the ones that give you the armor for X amount of seconds, and it stacks up. So this is very good for your survivability. And the next thing is going to be for your boots. It's going to be when Hurricane is active, you gain +2 ranks to your shape-shifting skills. So this is gonna increase the damage and the skills that you're going to be doing, and in this case it's going to be shred, so it's going to help tremendously. For your offhand, it's going to be critical strikes with core skills, increase attack speed by X amount of damage for 5 seconds. And then here's the confusing part, is the weapon. So obviously with the weapon, you're not going to have Waxing Gibbous right away, and nor do you need to even use this. Reason being is I want to say this is great for speed farming. It's very great for one-shotting mobs and just power throwing it. But the biggest downside to using this is your single target like boss damage is very negligible. So I would say if you have a good item that you can do for your single target boss fight, have it on you and then in your stash, and then switch it whenever you're facing a boss, and then whenever you're going through a dungeon and mob clearing, you can have this. But if you don't have Waxing Gibbous, just have any axe and try to get the whole crit vulnerable damage type stuff on it. Same thing for rings. You're going to want crit vulnerable damage, werewolf skill damage, that type of stuff. Even increased damage to enemies that are poisoned, stuff like that. I haven't rolled anything because I'm leveling, and when I level to 100, I try not to roll the items if I don't have to. So you'll see like there's so much that I can do with this. So just keep that in mind. Your build is definitely going to be different from mine because I'm not completely min-maxing. I just don't like to waste my time and resources early on while I'm leveling. I prefer to save it for end game, especially since the leveling process you're primarily going to be grinding nightmare dungeons all the way. So I see no point in doing that. Anyway, this is going to be your basic bare bones setup. Like I said with the Waxing Gibbous, I don't expect people to have this. I honestly didn't get this Waxing Gibbous until like I want to say maybe level 73 or something, or actually here 72. So until then I was just using whatever axe I had that had the best stats at the time, and For me, I don't switch off of this even during a boss fight, mainly because I haven't gotten a decent weapon for when I do boss fights. So I'm stuck using this, but having this alone helped me with my runs being a lot faster and more consistent. Even without it, this build is still good. It's just going to take some time. Now, in regards to temerity, some people like to run it, and you could. There's nothing wrong with it, but I feel that getting the survivability from this armor roll is a lot more consistent and better than using the temerity. But if you prefer it, by all means, you can go ahead and do that. Another mention is for the helmet. What would replace this is if you get Tempest Roar. Obviously, that is such a rare item. I haven't gotten it yet, and I know quite a bit of people who have played the game since it even released still haven't even seen one. So obviously that's all RNG, but having Tempest Roar will definitely make this build a lot stronger, and that's kind of what transitions this build into more of the late to end game, is getting that Tempest Roar. And even the Waxing Gibbous isn't mandatory. Just having a Tempest Roar would be tremendous, but you know RNG is how it is, so don't expect to get it. So this is what you'll be using. But once you get Tempest Roar, it's a no-brainer. You're gonna throw that in there. So that's the gear. Oh, sorry. For the gems, it's going to be rubies, and then for the weapons, it will be emeralds. And then the next thing is, since this is the season with those malignant hearts, there are certain hearts that are better than others or that you would want to prioritize. For me personally, with this season, I just kind of threw whatever I saw was decent. So let me see. So right now I'm using the Wrathful Heart. So again, the attack speed, core, and basic skills have a chance to fully restore primary resource, and I get barrier. So that's pretty nice, but this is the ones that you want the most is Cage Heart of Revenge, Cage Heart of Tempting Fate, and Cage Heart of the Picana. So those are the ones that you would want to put in. So clearly I don't have the hearts that are supposed to be, best in slot, so to speak, for the build. So I just use whatever is benefiting me for the moment. So that's why I have these hearts that I chose. By all means, choose what you prefer, what you're having fun with, do what you want to do. For me, I chose this one because it helps them with survivability, does some damage, and then I really like this one that pulls enemies in whenever I have an ultimate skill active. And then the Wrathful Heart that gives you more DPS, and then a barrier here and there. But by all means, these are not like the number one things to choose. It's just what I have momentarily, especially with the type of sockets that it rolled on it with the corresponding hearts. So I just made do with what I had. Another thing to keep in mind is if you end up having the heart that is the barber, keep in mind when you use it, and if you use Waxing Gibbous, when that barber procs, it will not count for this unique ability for the Gibbous. It will count as a barber kill, not a kill from you. So just keep that in mind. If you are using a barber, your Gibbous will not proc. You should just use a different weapon at that point, or swap out your barber for, in my case, I have the one that pulls the enemies in because that's more of a speed running tactic. The barber is more of a, trying to get as much DPS as you can. So that's more of kind of like pushing content type thing. But, like I always say, do what you want to do. It's your game. I'm only letting you know what I'm doing. Now, as far as spirit boons, I have wariness active, and then scythe talons, swooping attacks, calamity, and then masochistic. So primarily you're going to take reduced damage from elites, you have increased crit chance, and you have increased attack speed. You have your ultimate skills are extended by 25%, so this helps when you use your Grizzly Rage, turns you to your Werewolf, and you have additional damage with the Shred. It's pretty nice. And then the Masochistic is what's gonna help you stay alive with survivability. Now, as far as skills, I'm not gonna get too far into details because, again, I'm linking the build in the description, so I'm not trying to waste anyone's time here. So I'm just gonna briefly go over it. If you want to know like the nitty gritty details, like I said, check maxroll, and it has everything laid out for you. So it's going to be Storm Strike, rank 1 of 5, Fierce Storm Strike, passives, Heart of the Wild, rank 1 of 3, Abundance, rank 3 of 3, Wild impulses, it would be 3 of 3, but I have an item that's contributing 2 extra points. Then it will be Shred rank 5 out of 5, and it's going to be Primal Shred. And then Predatory Instinct, rank 3 of 3. I can't pronounce this because I'm not even gonna bother, but this is rank 3 of 3. Cyclone Armor, rank 2 of 5. And then it's going to be Preserving Cyclone Armor. We have Ancestral Fortitude, rank 1 of 3. Vigilance, rank 3 of 3. Blood Howl, rank 1 of 5, and it's going to be Preserving Blood Howl. Nothing in the companion tree. Then Elemental Exposure, rank 1 of 3. Endless Tempest, rank 3 of 3. Hurricane, rank 1 of 5. And then Natural Hurricane. Neurotoxin, rank 1 of 3. Envenom, rank 3 of 3. Toxic Claws, rank 3 of 3. And then it's going to be Supreme Grizzly Rage, so you just take, all 3 of these. Defensive Posture, rank 3 of 3. Nature's Resolve, rank 3 of 3. And then Lupine, Ferocity, however you pronounce it. So those are the skill points. Now, Paragon Tree, full disclosure, I kind of just threw whatever I had at the time in here as far as my glyphs, so I didn't do the specific order that the guide tells you to, because at the time I didn't have it, and I honestly don't care too much to really min-max it right now. So, like I say, do whatever you can. So this is just a brief overview of my current Paragon board. Obviously yours is going to be different for your lower level, higher level, and then also the amount of renown that you have. But as far as what's recommended for what to use, it's going to be Exploit, Werewolf, Territorial, Spirit, and Fang and Claw. Now that is the order for what you want to level to 15, so I'm going to go over it again. So the priority of what you want to level the glyphs to level 15 is going to be number 1, Exploit. Once that's 15, do Werewolf to 15. Then Territorial to 15. Then Spirit to 15. And then Fang and Claw to 15. Once you get all those to 15, you're going to change your priority to Fang and Claw will be to 21. Then Exploit, you'll get to level 21. Werewolf will be level 21. Territorial to level 21. And then lastly will be Spirit to level 21. That is the order the build guide recommends for maxroll. So whether if you want to follow that to a T, that's up to you. Just giving you the information that I have. Alright, so I'm in a nightmare dungeon. It's tier 26 because I'm trying to have mobs within 3 levels above my my current level. So just going to show you, just kind of roll in there, pop your stuff, use your Grizzly Rage, just shred everything. Apply your rabies whenever you can. It's got decent clearing potential. The AoE clears pretty nice. I want to say like I said, the biggest struggle with this is the single target, especially on bosses. It's not the best, could be worse, but could be better. But the typical Druid struggle leveling, it's a little underwhelming, but I mean, it's overall a fun build to play. Just keep in mind it is quite dangerous, especially since your melee range. It's very easy to die if you're not paying attention, or if you don't have your cooldowns timed right, or your evades aren't being timed right either, and especially when it comes to the CCs with the enemies that freeze you and all that good stuff that everyone knows. So yeah, it's very similar to the regular shred, just this one has more items that you use, aspects that you can't get from the dungeons and whatnot. So it's very similar. That's why I chose this build, and also like why I chose to level up with shred, is because I didn't have to worry about too much like respecking or anything from my level 1 to 50 build to my 50 to 100 build. So, and this would only get better once you get Tempest Roar. It becomes a lot more easier to play. But yeah, I mean, it's pretty fun. I enjoy it. So yeah, I just wanted to show some gameplay. Not gonna do a whole clear again, I'm not trying to waste anyone's time. Just kind of throwing out the information out there and giving my little 2 cents and whatnot. So if you found this video helpful at all, please remember, like and subscribe. It helps me out, and yeah, I appreciate every one of you. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.